Hi, everyone. I want to share with you today about our reading from yesterday, Luke 5, 1 through 11 is what I want to share about. It's a story about calling the disciples, and it's a little different in Luke than it is in other stories. We're going to continue to hear about this calling the disciples over the next couple of chapters, but these are the first disciples, and it's a call story for Peter and James and John. And what I mean by call story is it's somewhere that they were taken away from their usual tasks and their way of life, their usual routine, fishing, and directed them towards Jesus and towards the people. That's what this call story is about. So where is this taking place? In verse 1, we hear that it's near Gennesaret. That's an area up in the northwest area of the Sea of Galilee near Capernaum. Luke calls it the Sea of Gennesaret. Matthew and Mark call it the Sea of Galilee, and John calls it the Sea of Tiberias. They're all different places, but they're all that big sea, and we're talking about the area in the northwest. All the same, the northern lake in Israel. And in this story, they had been fishing all night, the ones in two boats. They had been fishing all night and they were tired. They hadn't caught much. It hadn't been very productive. Jesus gets in one of the boats, happens to be one of the boats that had Simon in it. He did that knowing that the crowds were coming towards him and that he was not necessarily trying to get away from the crowds, but he was trying to separate himself so that he could maybe speak to as many people as possible. And what he said was, go ahead and put down your nets. And of course, Simon Peter says, okay, master, we've been doing this all night, but if you say so, we'll do this. And what happens is they pull in nets full of fish. This is known as a natural miracle. It doesn't involve human beings as a subject. We aren't told how this happens, but the inclusion of more areas of creation like the fish or the wilderness or other places, and not just humanity, brings some intrigue to the story. Just how much of a supernatural is this Jesus? How divine is he? Does he really control all of creation? Questions. In verse 3, it says that he sits down in the boat to teach, which is not like in our last lesson in the synagogue, where he read the scroll of Isaiah and he sat down. That's where they produce their commentary. But this time it's with others in the boat, and it's kind of like a mobile pulpit that others can move him around the beach area of the lake, and different people can see him. But that mobile pulpit in the boat is modeling that metaphor, fishing for people. Not fishing for people to pull them into the boat, but fishing for people to be able to feed them with the word. And this is one aspect of discipleship, just to be with people and to share stories, share commentating on the word. Verse 5 is where Simon calls him master. And really what we can derive from this is that he just realizes the authority of Jesus and accepted it when he says master. Note that in the end of chapter 4, Jesus had healed Simon's mother-in-law of fever. So this probably wasn't the first thing that Simon had heard or seen of Jesus's healings or miracles. He had been around, he knew it. So that master could have been much more familiar, that he knew, in fact, that he was something to be set aside. But his response to this, when all those fish come in, what did he respond? It's kind of curious. I am a sinful man. And in verse 9, amazed, not about any one particular thing, but as recognition that he has encountered someone very holy, something that was going on. I'm a sinful man. I am not talking about how sinful he is, but that I am but a mere human. And you, master, are something so much more. This amazement about that. So that in verse 11, Simon and James and John and Andrew all left everything and followed him. which is a traditional second aspect of discipleship, that you turn your back on other things and embrace the stories of Jesus and begin new life in Christ. They were so moved by this fish and all that Jesus had to say that they had to see and learn more. So the question becomes, did they really leave everything? Are we really being asked to leave everything? So here's some caution in hyperboles in the Bible or in some of the language that's used. Later, Jesus's base is in Capernaum, Capernaum. And he is in and around that way, and he journeys to different places in the boat. Now, it's not a hard stretch to say that could have been Simon Peter's boat. Jesus didn't carry boats around. So it's probably not everything that they left, but perhaps at least their regular livelihood, other things that they depended on for their life. They left that and followed Jesus. So I have a couple of questions here for reflection for you in your journals, I hope. The first is, what is needed for us to be fishers of others? Fishers of men, fishers of women, fishers of siblings. What do we do? And this is key to me. What do we do to avoid the notion that we're trying to catch someone? How do we make being fishers of others, fishers of men, excuse the male, female language there, but how do we keep that from sounding like we're trying to trap someone and bring them in? How do we open it up and become more vulnerable? Is it really in catching them in the net, or is it in sharing the fish with them and sharing conversation? I'll let you think on that some more. And then finally, think about the miraculous catch of fish. So while it's not necessarily a miracle, Jesus could have just found a good sinking hole that the fish were hiding in. Lots of fish can be caught in one place. But here's my question. What does Jesus's act tell the Simon and John and James about his authority? What is that act of pulling in the nets of the fish and having so many fish that the boat started to sink? What does that act tell them about Jesus, his authority, and the power that he has? I'll leave you with that, and hopefully we'll be able to see you again tomorrow. Well, we'll talk about verses 12 through, I think, 12 through, I don't know, 30, something like that. And I look forward to seeing you then. Bye.